Hello everyone, welcome back. Today is Netherlands versus Austria, which could be quite an interesting game actually. The Netherlands did well in elements to their game against the Ukraine, but there were also a lot of weaknesses there that we're going to take a little bit of a look at today. I think they need to improve if they're going to go far in this tournament. They probably have enough to get out of the group, but they do have some elements that they may need to improve. Whereas Austria, as a weaker team, they have a couple of bits of play that could help them in this game, but I think their quality is probably going to be an issue for them. But they do have a couple of tactical elements that might surprise or catch out the Netherlands, so we will have a look at them too. So the Netherlands went with a 3-4-3 formation, or into a 5-2-1-2, with Wijnaldum playing in the hole. He's looking to get into that front line and join Weghorst and Depay whenever the ball comes into attacking areas. So he's the link in that respect. Weghorst and Depay both play relatively central. So when the ball comes into these areas, Weghorst likes to come and collect here, and he can hold up the ball because he's strong and he's big. Whereas Depay will prefer to come out wide and use some dribbling ability to get into these areas here. But he can do the both on either side, Weghorst as well. So they will switch sides quite often, but they tend to stay relatively central throughout the game, whereas Wijnaldum will look to play off both of them and link up with them. De Jong is the carrier, so he will play just in front of the defence, but in possession, they will look to him to carry the ball into attacking areas into the final third. He does get into the final third inside the area when the team move the ball out wide. He looks to get inside these areas for the cutbacks, but generally he's the carrier. He will look to break the defensive lines, whereas De Roon just looks to get across the pitch, cover spaces, and block off the channels for the opposition. Van Aanholt and Dumfries were getting forward into the wide areas as Netherlands look to move the ball into the spaces out wide. They like to use a lot of cutbacks as well. One of the strategies that they used a lot was getting Dumfries into the area. So when Van Aanholt or Depay, if he was out here as well, whenever they had the ball in these positions, Dumfries would get to the back post. He actually scored his header from this position, but he was already getting into them situations earlier on in the game. So it's something the Netherlands will look to do. They look to play balls across here. And Dumfries, with his height, is a danger to the defence. The problem for the Netherlands is the ball over the top. They like to play with a high line, so Timber will come out here and De Ligt, De Vrij in these spaces. De Roon will hover, but De Jong will like to get forward as well. So they end up looking something like this when they're in the final third. Against teams with rapid pace, the Netherlands might have some problems because they don't recover too quickly. Blind, De Ligt, De Vrij and Timber may have some issues getting back. They're not the quickest, and because they push high up, they may leave some space. So against a team like France or Italy, they would have some problems for sure. Against Austria, they may get away with it because Austria don't really have the pace to hurt them. So this will be something interesting to watch as the tournament progresses. So Austria played with something similar to a 3-1-4-2. They had Schlager as the defensive midfielder. He would just sit in front of that back three to offer some protection. Ulmer and Lima were encouraged to support the attack, whereas Baumgartner and Kalajic led the line. Liner pushed very wide and was the one who was looking to get the crosses in from wide. So Sabitzer was operating in the wide areas here. He was getting into like the half space, but also operating quite far out wide, as his ability to play long diagonal swerving crosses inside the area was causing problems for North Macedonia. And actually they scored their goal from this. So we'll take a look at that in a moment. But the Netherlands will look to really push on to Austria. There's a couple of reasons why they'll do that. It's their system anyway. But secondly, Austria like to play out from the back. So the Netherlands are going to look to work the ball out wide into Van Aanholt. Depay will look to make runs into here as well, in behind the three. With there being three at the back, Weghorst and Depay can occupy the defenders a little bit better. So Weghorst can get into these spaces here to collect, whereas Depay can run across the line and cause problems for the defenders when they have to track him. So this could be quite interesting to watch Whereas Wijnaldum will look to get in behind Schlager and offer support in the front three. If Weghorst, Wijnaldum and Depay can get into these areas, where if Dumfries can get round the back of Hinteregger, that will cause Austria some problems. However, the three at the back actually allows Austria to track them a bit better. So Schlager could go with Wijnaldum, Alaba could stick with Depay, and Weghorst could be tracked by Dragovic, with Lena coming back into here as well. So they could look to form a back five to really block off the Netherlands, but they've got to be careful for the likes of De Jong and Wijnaldum floating. So as we saw in the first game, Alaba operated in this central defensive role. Now, this is a problem for Austria because Alaba's so reliant on his left foot. He's obviously got the quality with his left foot. He normally plays here for Bayern Munich on the left of the centre-back positions, or he'll play on the left-back, which was his old position. But playing a very central role is a little bit different because he needs to be able to shift the ball onto both feet. But because Alaba's so heavily reliant on his left foot, that means he's going to be limited in terms of where he moves the ball. He's only really going to be able to play it into these areas here. And it's going to be difficult for him to come back and move the ball out to the right. So this will work in the Netherlands' favour because they like to press high. Weghorst, Wijnaldum and Depay will all look to get in here. Wijnaldum will look to shut off that middle passing lane. So if Alaba receives it in here, Wijnaldum will just close off that link here, which prevents Schlager from coming in to collect the ball, or maybe Lima could come here, but it's likely De Roon will follow him as well. So Austria are going to have to look to try to really work the ball out quickly to the left-hand side before the Netherlands can even react. But that's a problem in itself because Dumfries is quite aggressive and Timber can cover in these spaces too. So in this game, Austria may look to actually go forward a bit quicker. Alaba could play the ball into Baumgartner or into Kalajic as well on the other side. But if the Netherlands are able to impose their game on Austria, it could cause problems. As we saw in the first game, Alaba and Schlager had some mix-up between them, and Alaba was having a bit of issues in terms of moving the ball quickly. So it's something the Netherlands will work with. Austria's other issue in terms of hurting the Netherlands is their pace up front. None of their front five really offer any serious pace to hurt the backline of the Netherlands. So once the Netherlands push high and press Austria back, it's going to be quite difficult for them to actually get the ball in behind, as Kalajic and Baumgartner are not the quickest of strikers, and they may have issues trying to force players out of position. Like they need to move De Vrij out of his central position, and they look to really isolate Blind or De Ligt. But with Van Aanholt covering back and Dumfries covering back too, the Netherlands may have enough there to stop them from getting into these situations. So how can Austria cause the Netherlands problems at the back? Because they lack a pace, they're not going to be able to really play the ball in behind too much. But what they'll look to do is they'll look to get the ball into Sabitzer in these areas here, just like they did against North Macedonia. And his delivery will look to come inside towards the goal. His set pieces and his delivery from these areas are very, very good. There's a lot of quality and pace on the ball. With Baumgartner and Kalajic in the middle, they tend to stay central and run straight towards the goal, hoping to meet the cross as it comes in. Lima will join them from time to time, and Ulmer on the other side too. But the real threat is Lina on the backside. May be able to get in behind them areas, which is why Van Aanholt really needs to pay attention and switch on. If he's caught high up the pitch, the likes of Lena can get in behind. If Van Aanholt gets back in time, he can block off that area. The alternative for them is to work the ball out to Lena on the right-hand side, where he'll look to play balls in behind. If the Netherlands defence drops back, he'll look to just cut it back to the likes of Lema and Ulmer. And Sabitzer may arrive a bit late as well. He may just come into these positions instead and hope for an opportunity to get a strike at Stekelenburg. So I see the Netherlands winning this game just because Austria lack a bit of pace to really hurt the Netherlands' high line. And they may have problems playing out from the back, with the Netherlands pressing quite high too. I believe that their hope is to really catch the Netherlands out with one of these attacking moments, but I do think the Netherlands are pretty strong favourites in this contest. So what do you think? Do you think Austria can beat the Netherlands? Do they have enough? Or will the Netherlands comfortably see out this game and pick up another win? So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get more of my videos. Thank you.